On the line, we've got Senator Charles Perry. Good morning, Charles. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, thanks so much for being here, man. Give us kind of some color commentary on what's happening with some of the floodwaters and stuff. It's pretty epic, yeah?
Yeah, it's epic floods. We got a dam issue at Conroe. I'm told, I believe it's Conroe's dam showing some severe fatigue. And I think Bastrop had some dam issues. So, we're kind of at that point in the state with earthen dams and some of the infrastructures there that, maybe we've reached our point where we need to go back in and start reinforcing and redo it. But I hope I think the biggest problem was with the dam over around the Conroe area. I hope that did not to break, but they were pretty serious concerns last night.
Had several reports of homes just being completely swept off of their foundations.
Yeah, Wimberley, 2 days before, because we got torrential rains down here, got completely leveled pretty much. It was wiped off. There was a couple hundred homes there, and I think the majority of them all have been destroyed or at least significant damage. Floodwater is, until you've seen it in action, it's unbelievable, the power in it. But lots and lots of people in stress today, and we're trying to figure out how best to accommodate.
Wow. All right, we'll send up a couple of prayers for all the folks in the area.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Charles, a couple of things on the burner right now. Just wanted to ask you about it, this accident bill, HB 2633, which would kind of close the loophole on open records for victims' names, relative accidents. What is the purpose of that exactly?
Well, the original purpose and the purpose that it was intended for is we have what's the Verity laws where, there's a lot of data mining post-accident to create lots of mischief and frivolous lawsuits, and insurance companies are ultimately passing that cost on. So it's more of a tort reform kind of issue where you basically shut down those lawsuits that don't need to be lawsuits by not providing the identity and the personal information of those in those accidents. So that's the origin and the genesis. Had wide support on both sides. And that's what the bill was. The amendment that caught all the controversy, and remind you, the bill left the Senate floor at 28-2. So there was a messaging that got sent that, privacy of the individuals, when you have identity theft on steroids, and all of that information is available to pretty much a fairly low standard of entry to get that information. We're concerned as a legislature that you got an identity theft problem out there, and anytime government requires that information, we have a responsibility to protect it from those that didn't intend the intended use.
Yeah, no,
Charles. So that amendment is coming off in conference. We wanted some discussion. We got it. I think that it raised a level of awareness that if nothing else had been kind of set on the side that during this 24-hour news cycle with social media on steroids, people's privacy is, as I said it on the floor, is an endangered species.
Right.
And so we just wanted it to instill some thought and some conscience back in some of the when a lead story can be directed from a Twitter feed with no investigative reporting, that's probably not good news reporting. So that amendment will be stripped down. Probably conference meeting on that before Friday. Right now, we're just trying to get through the in-camp calendar with all the bills on it, but we'll have a conference hearing and pull it down because in total, the bill itself, huge support. And again, everybody on the Senate side, at least 28-2, put that bill out with the amendment attached. So that just was really a good discussion point, one that I felt passionate about. I've seen parents that have had accidents with their kids have to relive their child's name. I say their child if they're majority adult because their child, they're still under the minor rules, but have them gone through that cycle of news over and over and over
right.
Day after day. So, and there's ways to get that information where you don't put that parent through it. And if the parent wants to be an activist, say it was a texting issue, then the parent can take that up on their own and initiate that contact. But so anyway, lots of different issues there, but privacy has become a really strange thing that we all seek and want, but at the same time we all have all these venues now where our privacy is pretty much a secondary item rather than the primary focus.
Well, a lot of people would sit there and argue that the freedom of information and information flow is more important than the privacy issue there. But I was recently kind of touched by by this. I was in what's called a no-contact accident, where I was involved in an accident, in the realm of an accident, but there was actually no contact with my vehicle. Police reports were given and stuff like that to the officers. And, basically what happened, Charles, was, somebody got a hold of the information of the people that were involved in the accident that were, attorneys of what I feel was questionable nature. And then they went after one of the people that was involved in the accident by contact, and then they turned around and changed the entire story that they gave on the police report.
Exactly.
So
and that's what this is designed to do, stop that.
It does happen. It really does. Hey, Charles, if you'll hang with us, we want to touch on House Bill 3994. That's a bill that touches the abortion issue. We'll be back in a couple of minutes in conversation with Senator Charles Perry, Tom Collins, and Laura Mack.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you explain House Bill 3994 and how it changes the current abortion laws in Texas?
Sure. It really wasn't changing much. It was kind of tightening up some what we perceive to be some loopholes. Number one, because Texas is a parental consent state, meaning that parental consent is required for a minor to have abortion, then the Supreme Court years ago required that if you have that parental consent in law, then you must provide a judicial bypass around the law where the minor would not have to have parental consent. So that's the origin, genesis, the whole foundation of the judicial bypass. You have to provide it if you require parental consent. Inside of that bypass law for the years since its inception, there was opportunities for the abortion-provided doctor's attorney. The guardian ad litem is someone the court would appoint for the benefit of the minor to represent the minor's best interest. But that could also be the attorney advocating on the abortion side. A lot of times would have an attorney, the actual attorney in the courtroom. So you'd had a fox in a chicken house kind of syndrome. For years, I think the genesis for some of the need for this is incest, sexual abuse, those kind of parameters, to where if that was the issue for the need for the abortion, if that's how the pregnancy occurred, judges really had no way of giving that information to the proper authorities so that sexual abuse could be stopped and identified and remedied. Actually, what we were doing is providing judicial bypasses for abortions, turn right around and sending that individual back into that environment that possibly could have been the creator of the problem. So that's kind of some of those loopholes that we tightened up and tightened down. Under the current law, if after 2 days there was not a ruling, it was an automatic granting of the judicial bypass, we believe that it was probably more appropriate to give the judge an extra 3 days, if needed, to consider other factors such as mental health. There was no time for a mental health issue if you had an individual with an intellectual disability or challenge that were in a situation where they literally didn't understand what was going on, and it was those mental issues that put them in a compromising position with their parents. A lot of the sexual abuse with our intellectually challenged folks is from the parent. It's incest. So there was not enough time in that window to evaluate those options. So it's just kind of given a little more clarity to the process, given a little more time to hopefully evaluate why that person is in that situation, if there's anything going on that they would be, it would not be in their best interest to stick them back into that. That's kind of the heart of 3994.
One of the things I read about this bill is that it would require physicians to verify a woman's identity and age, and accepted forms of identification were driver's licenses from the United States and Canada, but not Mexico.
Yeah, the Mexico process there is not one of verification. But let me share back with you. If we don't have an age verification, the committee substitute removed the presumption of a minor. It took that completely off the table. But under current law, physicians under their own medical code require a age verification to perform an abortion. All your abortion clinics and your physicians that do those are required by law today to verify age. So under 3994 substitute, we opened up the parameter for different types of ID. At the same time, if at the end of the process you cannot get an age-verifiable document and the physician does perform the abortion, so there's no obstacle to having the abortion performed, then they would at that point report to the state in a very nebulous way that we have performed an abortion on someone we could not verify age. Now, the purpose of that is to see how much of that is a problem. Is there really something out there that we're not getting done? But at the end of the day, 3994 does not prohibit the abortion for someone that could not verify age.
All right, Charles, if you'll hang with us just one more segment, had some information or interest in the Sanctuary City bill. If you'd like to comment on that, appreciate you hanging out with us.
Sure.
Lubbock's First News, 657, in conversation with Charles Perry. Charles had some interest in Senate Bill 185, which deals with sanctuary cities. We got about 85, 90 seconds. Go.
Okay. Well, yeah, one vote short of having that heard on the floor. 12 o'clock midnight Wednesday, that bill will go with a long list of others into the graveyard, pending that one vote not being able to occur. So that's the status on 185.
That was tweaked a little bit in committee on Monday. Can you explain what was done on Monday?
No, it hadn't been up in committee. It's been on the floor actually for hearing. We just haven't had the one vote turnover, and I respect the process. You know, if I can't get 19 members that believe it's the right thing to do, then that's the way the process works. But it's actually ready for hearing on the Senate floor and then voted off and go to the governor's office. Actually, it would go back to the House and then to the governor. So we're running out of time pretty quick on that one.
So you think this one's gonna hit the ground, or you think it's gonna move forward?
I think it's going to be piled into a long list of other bills on Wednesday night at midnight that didn't get heard. So, but that's, again, I have to respect the process. 19 people needed to step up and say this is important enough to have the hearing on the floor. All right?
All right, Charles. Hey, appreciate you joining us this morning. Thanks for taking the time out. Have a great day. Bye.